Hello, everybody, and welcome to Podfluxxx, episode number 45. Ricky, my man, how are you tonight?
Good. Just finished legs, so I'm ready to go.
Oh, I just finished packing 220 boxes of Girl Scout cookies into bags for us to send off to various customers. Dude, what a racket this is. It's like at $5 a box. I've got like $1,000 worth of cookies sitting in my house.
Cookie. Oh shit.
But I don't
Smuggle
have,
them. Smuggle them to Colombia and see how that.
yeah, and I don't have the $1,000 though, which is where I feel like that's where it's a scam.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rick, last night was AEW Revolution 2024, the final match of Sting. Uh you know that I'm going to ask you, even though your answer is going to remain the same as always, but did you watch it?
No.
How was your Twitter viewing of it?
It was so-so. That's why I was kind of texting you to see if there was anything really standing out because it was hard to gauge what was good and what was really bad. Um, so I didn't see that anyone won the world title. I saw Roderick won the belt, so that's cool. And then I guess Sting won. I don't know if he won. Did he win? I guess he won the match, right? With Scorpion or
Yes.
something. Okay.
You know what? I don't even recall the finish, but we're gonna we're gonna get through this. I've got some notes that I took, and then my first viewing of this ended prematurely because AEW pay per view on a Sunday night. They're gonna give you 4 hours. Actually, you know what? Congratulations to AEW. They got their business done in 3 hours and 58 minutes last night. But I still fell asleep and woke up and had to continue viewing and then jump all over matches tonight. But so it started with Christian Cage and Garcia. And first of all, building is packed.
Yeah.
They're packed, they're rowdy, they're loud, they're rowdy, and they're ready. The crowd was so hot last night. And Christian Christian got Garcia over to a level that he hasn't been yet.
Good.
It was a really good match. They had, Nick Wayne and his mom and everybody out there. Everybody got involved a little bit. And Christian, man, they they did a deal where like Christian faked a knee injury, and then later on in the match, Garcia chop blocked him, and then he was working on Christian's leg, right? Christian took this bump into the steps, like a knee bump, like Foley used to do, remember?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But he took like a big back body drop. Like he planted his hands on the dude. He flew, and it was fantastic, and it was just it was a really good match. I don't remember per se what the finish was, but it wasn't. It wasn't. The finish was awful. I've got it on my screen right now. I'm trying to rewind it.
Was it for the TV title?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the Nick Wayne's mom, yeah, Nick Wayne's mom pulls referee Aubrey, and Garcia's got Christian and something over towards the ropes, and Nick Wayne just like hops up and hot shots him on the rope, and then he just turns around into the kill switch. So and 1, 2, 3. So they had a really, really good match, but the finish was awful. And then the next match was Bryan and Eddie Kingston.
Oh wow, they went on early.
Yeah, they went on early. I think they went. I'll pull it up here in 1 second. I think they went like 20, maybe 20 minutes. But I remember, like, did I text you that it looked like Bryan was getting ready to take Eddie deep?
No.
Okay, so yeah, I just wrote it in my notes. But man,
I didn't know they were that early. I would have thought they were later.
The Continental Classic rules are so stupid.
Wait, there's rules?
Yes.
For what?
For the match.
Like pure wrestling rules, like they did in ROH type thing?
No. This is. I'm going to tell you why the rules are stupid. The rules are stupid because they're the rules to professional wrestling.
What?
Okay. Literally, these are the rules. You're not allowed to have a second at the ring. Okay, so you can't have a manager, you can't have a valet, you can't have your best friend's uncles and barber Ted. Nobody can come to the ring with you.
Not even if President Jack Tunney gives you a manager's license for one night only?
They might make an exception for that. I'll have to call in on the next media scrum and find out.
That usually works.
The next rule is there's no outside interference allowed. Which
right.
I always thought was like a basic rule of professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then it's countouts will be enforced.
They normally are not?
I guess.
Okay.
And so will disqualifications.
Oh.
So their continental rules, okay, basically imply that all the other matches don't have rules.
Yes, correct.
Okay, cool. We're on the same page. All right, so like early in the match, they had like a long feeling out. And then they they would tie up or whatever and touch and push and then separate and milk and then get into it again. And then it was like slow getting into things and moving into they're having a really good match. But like I'm like 5 or 6 minutes into this and going, all right, Bryan's getting ready to take Kingston as far as his legs will allow him. And I thought that's why they were pacing the way they were. A lot of just like busy work, chops, take a beat, kicks, take a beat, sell all the way around the ring. Excalibur, first of all, Nigel McGuinness is a great announcer, but he's trying really hard, leaning into the heel side of being a ring announcer.
Yeah.
And so like in like the first match, like it really shows like, like he's riding Christian's dick really hard. However, it appears on television that Nigel McGuinness absolutely hates Bryan Danielson. So even though Bryan's the heel, Nigel just calls him a nerd and just, rips on him for the whole match. Well, they did a spot where they're on the apron and Kingston goes to throw a hard chop and Danielson jumps off the apron and he chops the post really hard. Great sound. And then Bryan drags him back in the ring by his hand and starts going for finger manipulation. And then Excalibur like just starts like talking nonsense and calling like the wrong shit. And like Nigel, like he was like, oh, he brings Brian back in the ring, but Brian's cardiovascular, like he's ignoring the story that these guys are setting up
Right.
and telling. And Nigel just cuts him off. And he's like, no, he's got the fingers, he's got the hands, he's working the, and like starts putting it over and like really sold the story to us. But Excalibur was ready to be like, oh, he's twisting the fingers reminiscent of Yujihara Kashigashi, like he was just ready to ignore it and just call it like all the rest of the bullshit that he calls, which like it really tells you how bad the best announcer of 2024 is. So thanks, Dave. But it ended up being like a really good match. Nigel, after he like took over at that point, really called a really, really fantastic match. And then Brian put him over. Really good. It was a really good match. Normally their kind of match, like, with the chops and the kicks and the chops and the kicks, and I'm standing right here. Let's go, motherfucker. Like, I'm not into it, but they just like they laid their shit in. It was really good. You could see like, and I don't mean to be like shitty to Eddie Kingston, but like Eddie Kingston versus anybody is like the same kind of a match.
Right.
But Brian like makes it different, even though it's this. It was really good. Really good. And then Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. First of all, Roddy Strong came to the ring dressed how's your comic book knowledge?
None.
Okay. Roddy Strong came to the ring looking like the $3 Dr. Doom. Okay, he had just this weird gray cape that he looks like he stole from Keith Lee. Right?
A cape?
It's like a cape and a hood. Yes.
What?
Hold on. But he's wearing a t-shirt underneath it.
What?
And he's got on this plastic skull looking like paintball mask, right? But it came out of the clearance bin at Sports Authority or Spirit Halloween. And it was just like and I was like, why is Roddy doing any of this?
Right.
Right. And then Orange Cassidy came to the ring and I just realized it, right? He's totally ripping off like the Colin Delaney or Mikey Whipwreck gimmick. Like every time he comes to the ring, something else is bandaged and taped up. So he's his whole back is taped up like ridiculously in that stretchy. I don't know what the hell is it called, like the stretchy sports tape.
Yeah.
And Roderick Strong just beat the teetotal shit out of Orange Cassidy for like 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Gave him like 2 things and then beat the shit out of him for another like 5.
Nice.
And it was like watching like Roderick Strong's greatest hits. Like if you YouTubed Roddy Strong's craziest looking shit, like this is the compilation video that would have came up.
Nice.
Because it was every inversion of a backbreaker he can come up with, and or just the hardest chops. They did a spot where Orange Cassidy was on the top rope, and Roddy just went up there and gut wrenched him and threw him up in the air, and Cassidy just bounced off the top rope out to the floor. It was the damnedest looking thing. And then he just gave him like another backbreaker and pinned him 1, 2, 3. So far,
That's what you would expect from that type of match, though. Like once you start getting into like a Roderick Strong type of wrestler that they know their stuff, like a Samoa Joe and Bryan
yeah,
Danielson, like the characters that these newer all elite nerds were doing before all the WWE guys got there, they just get eaten up because that's what you would expect. Like that's why I believe like all elite would never ever sign like an Austin Aries or a Low Key or maybe even Homicide for that matter, like because the characters are already so strong and established with the
right.
wrestlers like themselves that they were not going to fall for this bullshit, right? Like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the haha and crap that they do with each other is stuff I'm sure they're like, hey, this would be funny, winking a nod at the camera, and then let's do haha stuff. And most people would like, like myself, I like wouldn't play to
Yeah,
that. I mean, you're gonna play into it somewhat if you have to. Um, I guess without hurting yourself somehow, but it would be like these guys having handcuffs on, and not being able to do the stupid shit that
yeah,
that their YouTube fans like to see them be doing. But that's what I expected. I mean, honestly, like I was pulling for Roddy to win. In my head, I thought, well, if they did the right thing, they would put it on Roddy and then let him travel around and be the guy to try to measure up to,
right.
because there's just not a lot of guys that can go to that level, And but yeah, that's what I would have expected. So I'm glad he won, and I'm glad the match went that way. I mean, I don't think it'll do any good to anybody in the back, I mean, that's one of those matches where you're like, oh, maybe I should man up to that level of performance, like work like that or work like a Brian. But I don't think any of those guys back there look at that stuff,
Right.
honestly. I mean, when I was starting out, I used to watch Christopher Daniels was on a lot of our shows when at the school that I started at, and I used to run out to the ring to the audience by myself because I wanted to focus on what he was doing that made him so good, and those were the things that I would try to watch and learn from, and then train, and then ask him about, and all that stuff. But I don't think any of those fucking nerds do any of that shit.
Right. No, because I feel like all of them think, "Oh, we're already here, so
Yeah,
what
right,
else is there to absorb?"
right.
You know, so that was that. Oh, and then after the match, Kyle O'Reilly just comes into the ring
Oh, really?
and like he squares up first. Yeah, he squares up for a second and then gives Roddy a big hug. And then Mike Bennett takes off the undisputed shirt, like his own shirt off his back, and goes to give it to Kyle O'Reilly. And Kyle O'Reilly like takes it and then hands it back and then whispers something to Roddy and then leaves. So that was cool, like the kind of a seed they planted there.
Right.
I made a mistake here in the match order. So before the Roddy and Orange Cassidy match,
Mm,
there was a uh what was it, 8-man scramble match
okay.
that was terrible.
Who was in the
Terrible.
8-man?
Okay. It was Hook, Brian Cage. Oh, it was so bad. Hang on. It was it was Wardlow, Okay. Chris Jericho.
What?
Powerhouse Hobbs. Right. Lance Archer. Uh Hook. Brian Cage. This guy Magnus from I guess he's a luchador. I guess he's from CMLL maybe. I have no idea. And Dante Martin. And not to mention Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, Adam Cole, Jake the Snake, and
The fuck?
and Prince Nana
On the
ringside,
floor?
on the
Rings.
floor. Right.
Good Lord.
So now I'm just looking at it like this, and I'm like, you're paying 13 guys right now.
Right.
Right.
Is that the catering open?
Right. And this mix of guys is as terrible as it sounds.
That sounds awful.
It was so bad. It was so bad. There was this one spot where, and you could tell, like Jericho is all over the place doing this thing where he's just hiding his mouth, but just calling spots to everyone, and it was
right.
There's one spot where somebody hooks. There's two guys in the ring. Everybody else is like out on the floor, laying down, scattered, because it's all at
Waiting.
once.
Right.
And two guys go up, and one hooks the other for a superplex. And then all of a sudden, 6 other guys hop up so everybody can do a superplex out of each corner. But like they were all just laying on the floor. So they got up for the sole purpose of, I'm going to climb on the outside of the turnbuckle and you're going to climb on the inside of the oh, and look at that. It just so happens to be 4 superplexes.
Oh my God.
It was so bad. Only thing good in this match was this guy Magnus.
Yeah.
He's the masked luchador. I thought he was really good. I could see him being like a marketable luchador. Like he's colorful, he looks good, his work is good. But this there was no reason for it to be on TV. And that's why I skipped it over, because I didn't bother writing a note about it.
Right.
Okay. So the next match, right, so that was that. Okay. FTR versus Moxley and Claudio. Did you see any clip on this last night on Twitter?
I didn't even know that was a match. No.
All right. Wild Thing hits. And here comes Claudio and Moxley wearing tiny black Road Warriors shoulder pads and spikes.
What?
Right. But
why?
They were like, right. They were like the Wish.com Road Warrior spikes, though.
Why would they do that?
I don't know. It looked so stupid.
It's like,
but Moxley, go ahead.
I don't know. It's just like, were they doing it because it was Greensboro and the Road Warriors were a thing there and they want to pretend they were the Road Warriors for the night?
I hope so, because I don't ever want to see that again. By the way, Brian Cage was in full-fledged Sting gear.
Of course
Orange
he was.
And blue face paint.
Was any of that ever explained why all of a sudden he wanted to pretend to be a Road Warrior, Ultimate Warrior Sting ripoff?
No.
Because what was wrong with his regular gear that suit him just fine that you could halfway take somewhat serious, at least from the look. Now he just looks just so like he's playing wrestler.
Well, and then the bell rings and you find out he is.
Well, yeah, that's what I
So
mean by first glance of him when he walks out in his regular gear to, you know, the average guy at Walmart, you could be like, whoa, this guy looks cool, you know?
right.
And then it's downhill from there. But was that ever explained, like why he's dressing like that? Okay.
No, not that I caught. Like they
Yeah.
could have explained it on a Rampage, but then who would know?
But then, like, say they didn't do any vignettes. Like, all of a sudden, I feel better with paint on, you know, and long, colorful tights. Like, you know,
No, he just one day it was like he was Sting.
just, yeah, I'm just going to do this.
Just like
Yeah. All right.
right. So anyway,
Cool.
back to the Road Warriors.
Yeah. Right.
But Moxley has got his t-shirt on under the shoulder pads.
Okay.
So he literally, like, he's in black sweatpants because he wrestles in sweatpants, a black t-shirt, and then black Road Warrior spikes. And he looks like a fan.
Yeah.
He looks like Claudio at least looks like something.
Right.
You know, but he just looked like he was dressed up to go to the show. And it was off-putting. It was unsettling. I wish you could find a picture of it.
I'm going to go look now. Yeah. I'm curious.
But the match with FTR, and man, this hurts to say too, it was really good.
Mm.
It was really good when they were building to go home.
Mm.
Like the whole match was good, but sometimes I feel like when they put heat on Cash, and not just them, like I've noticed it in other tag matches, like when Cash takes the heat, it just feels like slow and boring, kind of. I don't know, maybe he doesn't move around a lot while he's selling or whatever.
Yeah.
And but then like Moxley's heat is like boring because he's a mixed martial artist now. Right.
Oh.
So he's like front face lock, side, you know, like, and it's just like switch around. Like he had a front face lock and then he floated over to like figure four the legs and then floated his hips back the other way to head scissors the head, which was kind of just like, now you've got him all locked up and he's got nothing to sell with.
Where do we go from here? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what was wrong with the front face lock? At least, like, you can work that towards his corner.
Right.
Like he just did with Claudio, but Moxley was like, no, I got to stretch him, brother. You know, like.
God.
But then they started picking up in the false finishes with the double team moves, and you thought, like, you know, because FTR use a whole assortment of classic tag team finishes as finishes. So they can hit one and you think that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was really good. And when they were building to go home, and then they like they just like they tapped him out, or they didn't tap him out. They did like a pass, like a choke out. So like it was like a referee stoppage, and it was flat.
Wait, Moxley won?
Yes.
All right.
Like, I don't want to believe that John Moxley can beat one of FTR.
Right.
But but to choke one out, like, it is just.
Is that in the Continental rule book that there's no chokes?
I always thought there was no chokes.
Right, exactly.
But like, he's got a choke, and the guys on commentary are yelling "rear naked choke," and I'm just kind of like, okay, I guess this match is over. And
so stupid.
yeah, but it was really good until they got there.
Yeah.
Like they were building to something good, and then it ends flat. So that kind of sucked. I skipped the next match. Would you like to guess which match it is?
Was it a girls' match?
It sure was.
Was it?
Yeah,
Julia Hart?
Tony Storm versus Deonna Purrazzo.
Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
Was that not good?
Huh?
I guess.
I don't know. I just
Oh,
I fell asleep, and then I woke up, and then I was like, man, I want to just try and catch these other matches. So I
right.
started fast forwarding to see what was what, and I was like, man, ain't nobody got time for this. And then Will Ospreay and Takeshita,
I saw some clips of this.
which you know how I feel about Will Ospreay and Will Ospreay versus Ricochet and Omega and Okada. For all of the Will Ospreay matches I have watched, this was the best Will Ospreay match I've ever seen.
Yeah, from what I gathered, it looked like it was pretty solid all the way through.
Great pace.
Crowd seemed up for it. Yeah.
The crowd was so hot. The crowd, first of all, aside from, I can't speak for the women's match because I didn't see it.
Yeah.
The crowd is hot for everything. They almost died during the 8-man scramble.
Oh, of course.
But then Roddy beating the shit out of Orange Cassidy really brought him back.
Made everybody happy.
Yeah, and they were dueling, BCC FTR chants during that whole tag match. Like, this crowd was hot all night.
It's good.
And they were super hot for Ospreay. They were just hard hitting, back and forth. Takeshita, like Ospreay would do something fantastic, and Takeshita would grab a hold. Like, it was perfect. Like, it never turned into, I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this. Really, really, really great shit. Takeshita, dude, is so good.
Yeah,
He
seems
hits
like
hard. He sells great, man. The Blue Thunder bomb he does. I don't know if I spoke to you about it once before or not.
Yeah,
I mentioned it to you.
I saw
It
it.
was just, yeah, dude. It was just so solid. They built a good match. It was like 20 minutes long, but it flew by. And Ospreay won. And then they announce as what's his name, Kyle Fletcher.
Oh yeah.
Kyle Fletcher's like coming out to the ring to come and congratulate Ospreay. And as they're, embracing on commentary, they're like, Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher has been signed for Dynamite this week. So I don't know what they're doing because he's a stablemate also with Takeshita. So I don't know if they're trying to because they're part of that Don Cal. Oh, now Don Callis is on commentary also. And at some point they swapped out Nigel McGuinness for Taz. So that desk is like a revolving door all night because Taz is eventually going to tag out for JR. which I thought JR was really good. Anyway, the next match, Joe and Hangman and Swerve. I was ready to not like this match also. I was so ready to. Because I was like, there is no good goddamn reason for Paige to be in this match.
No, but 2 out of 3 were gonna make it good. So
So, like, Joe and Swerve spent like the first half of this match having like a singles match that Paige happened to be there for.
yeah.
Like they dumped him out, and then like it was wrestled really well. And anybody who was out on the floor tried to come back in and got bipped off again, or like anybody not in the ring for an extensive amount of time was logical. And towards the end of it, it became more Page heavy. Like his shit was like really all at the end.
Yeah.
And like it was all drama, it was all story. He bumped one of the referees, and then he bipped Swerve twice with the title belt. Swerve goes out to the floor, and then he hits like 3 buckshots on Joe, goes for a cover. There's no referee. The other referee finally slides in. He covers Joe. 1-2 kick out. And then Swerve comes back in, does something to Paige, and then hits something on Joe and goes for a cover. And then Paige just beats the shit out of that other referee and tosses him out of the ring. So, like, he's refusing to let Swerve win. Like,
Right.
he's killing referees now every time Swerve, like, goes for a pin or whatever. And then, how did the sequence go? I think it was, like, Joe hit something on Paige, right? And then Swerve hit his deal on Joe. And then, I can't remember the sequence, but it was so good. They built into such a good finish, and then Paige hit his thing on fucking Swerve, I think, and then Joe came up from behind him and grabbed like locked in like he was going for the choke, and then but he gave him like a half and half. Yeah, he took a half and half suplex, and then Swerve hit his deal. Oh, dude, I can't remember the fucking sequence, but it was so good. And then it built into finally Joe just kind of like getting up like a monster and grabbing his choke on Paige, and Paige tapping out, which they built really great to the finish because it was like the finish move, the finish move, the finish move, and then you got the submission. So like I thought we were gonna get a 1-2-3 somewhere. They
Yeah.
switched it up. The only thing that kind of sucked about it was Dipshit did a choke out, 2 matches before that. So it was kind of like, all right, if they were doing that for the finish of the main match, why would they do the same thing in the finish for the tag? But it was a good match. So far, this is the best AEW show I've watched in a really long time. And then the main event happened. What'd you see?
The glass falling. What's his name again?
Darby Allin.
Darby Allin falling through the glass. They super kicked Flair, and then I think I saw Sting with the Scorpion on somebody, and then the match ending. So that was about it.
All right. Well, first of all, match starts. Here comes Sting and Darby, right?
Yeah.
But they got Sting's kids. Did you see this?
Oh, where they were dressed like 90s, and then Wolfpack Sting. That was cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was cool. But the bell rang, and then the four of them just started beating the shit out of the heels. Everybody's hitting stinger splashes. Sting's kids are hitting stinger splashes. Sting's hitting stinger splashes. And then they start fighting outside the ring. And then Sting's two sons are running around like moving company guys, setting up tables and chairs, and just like they're just dressing this stage. And then everybody fights away from the ring and they're fighting through the crowd and whatever all over the place. And they get back to the ring and Sting's kids are just gone. So it was weird because they were there and then they were gone. But we were also like, okay, now the heels are getting beat 4-on-2. So like, I don't know. It was kind of weird. And then Flair and Steamboat were there, right? Did you see Steamboat?
No, I didn't see Steamboat.
Yeah, Steamboat ate a couple V triggers. So they're beating the crap out of Sting. Right. So Flair gets up and like goes in the ring and he lays on Sting. Like Miss Elizabeth, right?
Right.
Leave him alone, leave him alone. Yes. And then Steamboat goes to get in the ring and he gets V triggered a couple times, and then Flair gets the double super kick. And I don't remember if that was before or after the glass spot. But this glass spot.
Yeah.
First of all, Sting's kids set the chairs up very tight together. So, yes, not only was he going to hit glass, but he was hitting glass and the edge
crushing
of the
chairs. Right.
Right. And he climbs up like 12 feet on a 14-foot ladder.
Yeah, I was up there.
Bro.
And then he just commits suicide because he didn't do anything. He just did the tip over and then free fall.
That was it.
Was there somebody on the glass?
There wasn't somebody there fast enough, long enough for you to even realize. Okay. Like, I think as soon as like Matt Jackson's ass hit the glass, Nick pulled it off.
Yeah, because all I saw was him like teetering over and just falling through, and I was like, who was supposed to be there?
I don't think the glass was A, thick enough for somebody to actually be on it. And B, if somebody was actually laying on it, I don't think they would have been able to get out of the way fast enough.
Right.
Because he hit like 100 miles an hour.
Dude, that was gnarly.
People in the front row were going like this and shaking glass off their clothes.
Not cool,
Terrible idea. And even when Sting took the one in the corner.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was just like, but I was like, why does Sting's last match have to be a garbage match?
Right, with glass. Like, yeah, I didn't like that at all.
He could have really had a decent, he could have had a good fucking tag team match with FTR. It didn't have to be anything special.
Right.
You know, it could have been a simple tag match. And then the Bucks could have done garbage with Moxley and Claudio.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Moxley would have been more than happy to do garbage.
Yeah, I didn't like that when that was happening, but.
And then that was basically it. The show went off the air with Sting about to start cutting a promo.
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, because Darby was like, "Oh, we got 2 minutes to stretch," and then by the time Sting goes to say anything,
right,
show's over.
Yeah.
And that was Revolution. All in all, man. I mean, again, it's the curve because we're talking about AEW shows, but I liked it. I thought it was a pretty good show.
Yeah, I mean, that's great and everything, but what did they do for you to want to tune in to see more? You know, they're
nothing. Well, that's what I mean. True. I'm interested now in what they're doing with Will Ospreay.
Right.
And that's about it on anything that I actually, and I'm still interested in whatever they're doing with Joe and Swerve.
Yeah, I mean, you know, but let's say for Greensboro, when was the last time Greensboro had a major pro wrestling event in the past 5 years? Like there
I
wasn't a
can,
rumble. There wasn't a rumble there.
right.
None of Is this the first time that AEW's ran there? Um, no, wait. I think they did Blood and Guts there, right, or something like that. Or am
They
I?
did, yeah, they've been there. They've been there a few times because I remember when we went down the sheet of where they've been, how many times. There was a
Um,
couple of
but they did. I know they did less than 10.
yeah,
Um, so you kind of saw everything and then some on this show, right? So you can't go there for another few years now
right.
because it's going to be way less. They saw everything and then some. You can't you can't rebound from this for a very long time. So
They
um,
did they were there in December of 2021. That might have been their last time there. And it looks like they did, well, the post that I'm looking at as of that time, they did about 5,000.
well, I don't know
But
that they didn't do too much that we didn't already weren't already kind of looking forward to. I
mhm.
mean, they didn't. There wasn't a bunch of hooks to make you want to watch Dynamite to see. Okay, let's see what happens now because Sting is gone, right? So I guess the belts will be up for grabs at a
Tournament.
tournament.
They already announced there's going to be a tournament.
Okay, so there's that. Another big announcement. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I mean, at
The
this point,
tag team title tournament will
at
start
this
next week.
at this
Thanks,
point,
guys.
we're all just waiting for the Massachusetts show now, right?
Yes.
Um, and then who knows? I don't know. It's like this was Will Ospreay's first match, so of course he was gonna kill it, have a great showing, and then yes, we're all gonna wait to see what's next. But that didn't have anything to do with masterful booking. That's just the new guy had a good showing, and we want to see him again. Uh, so I don't know. It's just I like that. I'm glad that they kept the belt on Joe. Uh, I would do Joe stays on a monster tear as a heel until London, and then drop the belt to Will Ospreay in London. Unfortunately, it's not Swerve's time because the big money is in Will Ospreay right now, and it would just be a matter of him not overexposing him too much. His matches on TV need to be short. Basically like get over matches, really, where it's a lot of him, a little bit of selling, and then maybe cutting a couple promos on, you know, his intentions for the world title. He could tease, oh, where shall we have this match, type of thing, and then get through. Maybe they probably have one more pay per view right before London. I would.
Well, I believe that they have announced that there's going to be that they're adding a pay-per-view.
Uh, do you know when?
Uh yeah, if you want to talk for a second and just
Well, I mean,
I think
basically,
it was
yeah.
April.
The thing is you don't want to do too much with Will. You want to do just enough because him versus Joe is money. I think. I mean, I'm all for Swerve getting his time, but it's just timing is everything, right? So like they don't need Swerve, especially if you're going to London and you want to make sure that that crowd is almost to what it was last year. Putting Will in the spot to chase for the world title against Big Bad Monster Joe is a pretty good spot to build that whole, Hogan Andre type of build up that they're going to need to get another 20,000 people in that building. But and what a way to crown Will as the guy, right? I mean,
Right.
to do it there in that building, like, I mean, I'm looking at it like put all your eggs in the Will Ospreay basket for right now, because the clips that I saw look great and the crowd was eating at the palm of his hand. He could have that type of match with anybody, and that's what you need. He's kind of the Shawn Michaels, where he's small enough to where he could lose to a bigger guy, but he's also that guy that could give you like maybe a 5-star match with Wardlow or something, where Wardlow would come out the better, right? And then Will Hobbs, I mean, these are guys that are monsters that could get in there and whoop his ass, and it would just be good business for everybody, So I say keep it on Joe. After the next pay-per-view, I would put all attention focused on that direction, him and Osprey finally crossing paths, and to keep them away from each other for a long time, But maybe they're talking about each other or being asked about each other. With Joe, he don't even have to say anything with his facials and his emotion. That chick could be like, he could be cutting a promo and they say, well, what about Will Ospreay has intentions of being the world champion? He could just smirk and just walk off. That's enough for everyone to figure out, oh shit, is he, this is the match we want, basically.
I would like to add, they've got 3 pay-per-views before London.
3?
Yes.
Ugh.
They
That's
have
too many.
added an April pay-per-view.
Ugh.
That is called AEW Dynasty. Right? And then traditionally,
Forbidden Door, right?
before Forbidden Door, there's Double or Nothing.
Okay.
And then Forbidden Door. And it's funny that you bring up Forbidden Door and All In and Big Business, because I wanted to talk about these things a little bit tonight. They are saying that Forbidden Door they're going to hold at the Arthur Ashe Stadium this year.
I saw that. I saw that.
So let me ask you a question. They normally do Grand Slam in September.
Right.
At Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Mm.
Do you think they're going to run Forbidden Door at Arthur Ashe Stadium and then come back in September for Grand Slam?
No. No way. We know the buildings in New York are too expensive to run that. That's fucking insane. No, I think that they're realizing that Grand Slam is not working out, and that they need to put a little more garnish on the shows there for Arthur Ashe. So no, and I heard that CMLL will be a part of Forbidden
That's
Door.
what I wanted to ask you, because can CMLL talent work on shows with New Japan talent? Is that allowed?
Yeah, they work together, New Japan and CMLL. It's CMLL and AAA that don't like each other.
But I didn't know if I didn't know there was a working relationship with CMLL and New Japan like that. I guess it would have to be, because when they send their guys out to Mexico on excursion. Okay, that makes sense. You're frozen. I'm just going to continue talking. I don't know if you can hear me. Did you catch any of that?
No, I didn't.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't realize that the New Japan relationship was with CMLL.
Yeah.
I thought it was with AAA.
No. AAA. I think they do a little bit with Pro Wrestling Noah, but not much. No, that'll be a great pay-per-view if they add in like Mystico and a couple like Volador, and that'll draw well because the Hispanic population in New York, and it'll be a much different look with having the three companies working together. So I think that'll be good because you can have like, a really hot like CMLL versus AEW type of like tag match or 6-man or something cool like that. So I think it'll do good. I think that's a smart move. I think doing like a big pay-per-view out of that building. I mean, you're already renting the building, so you might as well, they did well in Toronto. That was a big building.
Right.
They did Forbidden Door there, so I don't know. I think it's a good move. There's no way in hell they come back a couple months later and go again there. There's no way.
Could you imagine? And then they do the stadium in June, they go to Wembley in August, and then go to do another stadium in September.
And it's a bomb scare.
Yeah. These guys they can't sell a movie theater out.
Right.
And they're just going to run 3 stadiums in 4 months.
Yeah, no.
The next thing I wanted to talk about, since we're talking about bomb scares, it's looking like right now for All In London this year, they've only distributed, I say only, but I mean this thing sold so hot and so fast last year.
Right.
There's 190 days left until the show, and on WrestleTix it says that they last updated. They sold 205 tickets since the last update, but they've only distributed so far 39,190.
They need to start pushing that now. Like that has to be talked about amongst the wrestlers and possible matches. I'm telling you, like Ospreay saying something about it, bringing it up, and then the world title, and then asking Joe about it, and then have the fans start to get excited. I mean, I don't know. I think they're only going to get like maybe 60 in there this time.
Yeah.
I don't see them doing what they did last time.
Yeah. And the Sasha Banks Big Business, right? The last time that they were in Boston, right, was for a Blood and Guts.
Blood and Guts, yeah.
July of last year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that show did 8,956. So far, with 9 days to go, they've only distributed 6,896 tickets.
That building holds 19.6.
What now?
That building holds 19.6.
And
almost 20,000 seats in there.
And they've sold under 7,000.
Correct. That's not big
for
business.
The Sasha Banks. It doesn't sound like very big business.
No, this is awful. This is terrible. That's why I asked on Twitter, like, did people really think it was a big announcement that they were going to the TD Gardens to play in front of an empty arena? Like, it was so stupid. I don't know. Like, wouldn't it be smart to say that she's debuting there and then people would come? She is not CM Punk that's been absent for 7 years and left while she was on top of the pro wrestling world, So I don't know. I mean, it's stupid. I feel bad, like, you know.
It's just like, again, we don't know the amount of money they
Right.
spent
Right.
on Sasha Banks. But you're whatever the investment was, I'm assuming he thought he was selling this building out.
I agree. I think he thought he was going to get about 15,000. This is what I'm thinking. That he's going to get about 15,000 and merchandise for her stuff is going to go nuts. And he was going to make all that back in that 1 week or whatever, but this is not going well again.
You know, the AEW fan base are the rah-rah women's division men,
Yes. Yes.
right? Give the women a chance. And this women's division is awesome. And Paige is a game changer. And Ruby Soho is a game changer. And this woman and that woman, they're all great and they're all fantastic, right?
Right.
That's what their Twitters would lead you to believe,
Correct.
right? But they all sit on their hands when the women are in the ring.
Yes.
The ratings fall off a cliff
Mm,
when the women are in the ring. So they're screaming for the women from the top of their lungs on the internet where everybody can see it
right.
and see just what kind of stand-up dudes they are.
Hmm.
But when it comes to actually supporting the women,
Right.
there's nobody.
They bail like everybody else. Yeah.
Yes.
Um yeah, this is going to be a bad look. Very bad look. Uh it's LOL TNA-ish bad business, in all honesty. Uh didn't TNA run a big stadium one time? I think it was in Detroit maybe, and they used like a quarter of it, like the butt end of it. I
They used
remember
the vestibule.
Yeah. I remember it was like tapered off, and I remember Homicide saying like, it was a huge building and they just used the very, very end. Like, I was like, for what? Like, it's gonna be one of those things, when I read on WrestleTix, everyone's like 7,000, 8,000 almost sold out. I'm like, sold out what? It's a 19,000 seat arena for basketball. So, and then you put the floor seating for the ring, it's 20,000 easy, even if you have a big stage. I don't know. I think he thought it was going to really move numbers like Punk, but this is a totally different situation. And he definitely shot himself in the foot, because if guys like Brian and Joe are making 2 and 3 million a year to work a very light schedule, she's probably making at least that right now.
Well, this is about to be a really shitty transition. Speaking of women, uh
Good Lord. And shit.
and money, Vince McMahon back in the news tonight, Rick. Some breaking news in the last couple of hours. Have you seen anything?
No, I haven't.
He recently sold 5,350,000 shares of TKO worth $412 million. Okay. He still has 15 million shares of stock, which corresponds to approximately 9% of the total outstanding TKO stock. Now that I directly quoted from this article I'm reading in SE Scoops.
Yeah.
So he still has 9% of the company stock. And if 5 million are worth $412 million, he's got another 16 to $18 million sitting there, depending on what the stock market is doing that day.
He's still the man.
Do you think? Listen, I don't want to be that guy, right?
Well, you usually are.
But I usually am. Do you honestly think that Vince McMahon gives one shit? You know what? No, I'm going to change that. Do you think he cares at all what anybody thinks about anything he's done over the not just the last 5, but the last 50 years with the amount of money he has?
No, he didn't care back in the 80s when he just went into territories and took everything from those old timers and laughed all the way to the bank with it. I mean, what makes you think he cares now? Now that he actually is or was at least powerful in the industry. I mean, no, he doesn't care. He's going to cash out slowly, I guess, right? As they see, I mean, I have a friend who ended up buying stock in TKO, didn't even know about it until I told him. And he started buying like small amounts. And I said, look, as WrestleMania comes closer and closer, that's going to increase because the buzz of WrestleMania and the financial records that they're going to hit all through that week, it's insane. Stock is going to climb and you're just then sell then. Yeah, Vince, I mean, say what you want, but I don't think he cares one fucking bit at all.
What anybody thinks, family included.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, yes. It's insane how we underestimate his ability to not care about what other people think, I'm sure.
Ugh. God. Well, I've got nothing else tonight. Vince made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
AEW might have made a little bit. I'm sure every match on this card is getting 5 stars at minimal in the Observer. Because if I actually liked most of them, he probably ran out of Jergens.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And it seems, have you seen any? I know we talked a little bit about it last week. Did you see any of the other Observer Awards?
No, I never do.
I wonder if Kenny Omega feels replaced.
Who won?
Dave is clearly traded up for the newer, younger model here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in Will Ospreay. Kenny must be, you get old.
Yeah.
All right, I got nothing else.
That's it.
You? No?
Nope.
All right, maybe I'll send you my my login later and you can watch. Oh, wait, hold on. I do have something else. BR Sports or BR Live, Bleacher Report.
Yeah, Bleacher Report.
Their app is the shittiest, stinkiest, most useless app I've ever apped in my life. Bro, it was... I went to buy it on my Apple TV, and it was like, you don't have an account. And I was like, yes, I do. So then I bought it on my phone. And then once I bought it on my phone, it went through to my TV. That just told me I don't have an account. Right? Because both things are linked because I have an account. Okay. And then I'm starting it and it's whoops, try again. Whoops, try again. Whoops, try again. There's the match. 3 minutes of match. Whoops, try again. Okay. And that continued for like 20 minutes.
Oh, shit.
And then, right. And then like I told you, I fell asleep.
Right.
So when I woke up and rewatched a couple of things, I had some other stuff to still watch today. And when I went to go to log in on my phone today, whoops, try again. Bro, like 5 times. And then like random. And then I'm looking in the comments because there's comments on it. And everybody is like, what the F? I spend, $49.99 or whatever I spend on this pay-per-view just to find out, like, can't load video, try again. So and then randomly it just works.
It's too much work.
Like, can't they just like do something like with a regular app? Like, why does it have to be like Amazon's third stepbrother twice removed by divorce? Like, it's just
Right.
Bush. You know what? Now I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm running the fucking gimmick. Rick,
Right.
I'll talk to you later. Motherfuckers,
Right.
take it easy. Where is the thing? I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Jesus
Whoops,
Christ.
try again.
Yeah.